Okay, this one is on passion versus purpose, building a life that matters. Short synopsis: I'm 25. I got $278,000 as the current market stands. Um, Whole life goal is to basically change abject poverty, make $100 million. Sounds very good, but usually people are motivated and supportive of that for about 10 minutes, and then afterward, while feels good to talk about, then 10 minutes later, then I'm like, oh, there's a lot of work to be done. So I'm making these videos, one, to help refine my thoughts, to keep myself accountable, to go towards a life goal. If I were to do a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of amount of money, and then also after I reach the goal, that people can reference back to these videos and see the whole process of it, and show that anybody can do it. Because I'm not doing anything extraordinary here, just working hours and dollar cost average in cash right now. So yeah, there we go. See what this presentation here is about. Passion is something that I think that you are interested in and ignites excitement. Purpose is something that you're striving toward consistently throughout, hopefully, the whole duration of your life to have the most amount of meaning. So, my passion is I like special forces. I'm kind of skeptical. I'm trying to keep all this stuff really anonymous, which think I'm doing right now. Passionate towards special forces and business. My purpose right now, though, is to change abject poverty and trying to have a balance between the two. So those are mine, at least. What matters most? What matters most to me is changing a whole bunch of lives in the course of abject poverty. So money right now is what I need. So purpose for me provides good logical and meaning, not just temporary satisfaction. So um, logic and meaning, all the work that I did do and I don't want to do, if that's being a rep agent, working at the meat market, concrete construction, working 80 hours at the car dealership, which I did love, but didn't get really any money, focused on the education. All of that stuff has meaning then to me, and it's a logical decision that I have to do it. And I found enjoyment in doing each one of those, even though I didn't find it in the short term. I knew it was part of a larger goal, so that's where I got enjoyment from. Story behind a belief, dream, special operations. I guess I did talk about in this. I've always had a passion for special operations and adventure with high stake decisions, challenge, and it felt like the only path worth taking. And I still really want to do this. The pivot, I needed to build a foundation first before I started that because there was a high likelihood of failing to that. So I studied business and investing, one, because I like it, but then two, also, it seems like the most likely chance of getting an exorbitant amount of money to help other people. So then I combine the two of it. Now I have a decent start to it. Got 270,000 at 25, like I'm saying. Also depending on the market. So and I have a backup plan here. Business. I have a degree in business and a certificate in entrepreneurship, which also has a high likelihood of not succeeding. Which the backup plan to that was doing all this other stuff so I could get money. So if both of those fail, then I still have a fail safe. Maybe I'm playing it too safe. Who knows? But now I want to try to do Spec Ops next year. I have multiple skills, which is why I went to the car dealership and all these other jobs and practical knowledge. So now I'm going to use that to have a concrete plan and to the purpose altogether of helping others. So now that I have the foundation of it, now I can try to follow my passion a little bit while keeping the purpose in mind. And now I have fail safes. So just in case my passion does fail, or if it goes good, I can still fulfill my purpose. Realization, let's see what this is. Now I gain freedom because, alright, I gain the freedom to chase my passion without risking everything, which is what I was doing, working all the hours and saving cash. So purpose became my safety net, making passion sustainable. When passion shifts and when it doesn't. The false passion. At 15, I thought I wanted to become a pharmacist. Now, when you're younger, you're going to have a whole bunch of ideas. The whole idea was to make a bunch of money. That was it. I didn't have any other idea. Seemed like a solid plan, but it was never truly mine. It was what I thought I should want based on external factors from people that I talked to. The real passion, Spec Ops Adventure, making large and high-stake decisions have always been constant. They're not just interests. They're tied to my deeper purpose, which sounds a little corny, I guess, and corporate, but I mean, it's true. um, even when passion and purpose gets blurry. So sometimes you can't distinct between the two. Hopefully they align, but if you can't, then that's okay. The blur might mean you're onto something real, which my passion was to help, or my purpose, I think, is to help people, and my passion is to also help people, just in a different aspect, on a smaller scale, but more high stake scale. The line there is kind of blurry, but to me, I feel like that means I'm on the right path. Pulled in multiple directions. In your 20s, tension is going to be constant. I had an opportunity to stay in my organization, a precious job that paid well, that many people want, and this is what you know, is an avenue that I could go next year, but it seems easier, more secure, more sensible to do, but it's not really what I'm interested in. And I mean, I would definitely be able to reach the purpose, and or actually probably not definitely because it's $100 million, but excuse me, there's a higher likelihood I could do that. Um, and I could have like lived a little bit more, lived in a nicer place, ate better food, but the whole purpose of sacrificing all of that was so I could still reach my purpose, but then be able to follow a little bit of my passions as well. So external forces can be loud, and that's actually what shaped a lot of what I thought I wanted until I was probably 22 or 23, and now I don't care anymore. So um, they all told me that's what I wanted before, and that's what I should do. Now I don't really put any volume to those voices. Now I just want to go towards what I want to do after I built this foundation of one, financial, and then also of deep thinking, of thinking about it for so long. So it took a lot of alone time, real solitude and reflection, to realize that it wasn't my path. After building backup plans and aligning my finances, I made the decision to avoid the easier route and follow my passions. This part is really important. Um, I had a lot of lonely nights at jobs with working a lot, or when I chose to be homeless right after high school, or when I was sleeping in the park after my apartment got robbed for a while. Jumping around a lot is a lot of alone time, a lot of what am I doing with my life. Even right now, I still feel that in the apartment um, when I'm working towards the goal, but it's not going very fast. I'm not getting a lot of positive feedback. So we're still going, but we're going slowly. And you have a lot of these times when you're by yourself and you're not by anybody else, which is good to kind of get out of your circle and the environment that you grew up in. So you can actually have this reflective time and solitude and reflection to define what you actually want. I think that's why philosophers so long ago, they're still so prevalent. There's two factors to it. One, we had all these philosophers, and then over time, they consistently start going down and down to a distilled version to find out the best ones. But then also because they had so much time on their hands, they could create. Well, there was nothing to do, so there was nothing to do besides be alone, solitude, reflect, and then find the meaning to their life, or build philosophy. That's just my thoughts. I don't know if that's true or not, but it kind of makes sense to me. Freedom that comes with purpose, financial stability. If you have a purpose, you got to get all your finances in order. It helps your decision making because you're no longer based on fear, wondering if your finances are in order and you have cash. You don't have to be stressed about making decisions and paying bills, if that makes sense. Skill development, instead of like me continuing to work at the warehouse or the meat market or any of the other side jobs that I had to build up the cash, I then focused on, once I got financial stability, over 200,000. Then I focused on more skill development. Probably a little bit late in some people's eyes, but that's just because I wanted to have that backup plan. Once I have the financial stability, once I start developing the skill development, then I have mental clarity about what path to take forward. Because now I'm not worried about what bills I have to pay or like saving up more money. Now I have a good, uh, I don't know, a good amount of money, I guess, at least for my age. So I start thinking clearly about things and not really worry about saving as much money as possible or where I'm sleeping tonight and stuff like that. Advice for a 20-year-old who can't find their passion. Um, I didn't know, or can't find their passion. They should be finding their purpose. You're gonna have probably a whole bunch of passion when you're younger. There should be purpose. Um, just go work and find your purpose. I think Alex always talks about this. I know I talk about him all the time, but he's a absolutely huge role model and probably the biggest role model I have, along with Patrick Bet David. Him and Jordan Peterson are probably tied for second. Um, but if you can't find your passion right now or your purpose, just go work. Um, you'll have a lot of that time to be solitude. Working 60, 80 hours, you're going to be alone a lot and you're going to be working. And in your back of your mind, you're going to be thinking about this stuff rather than just being distracted by going to a concert or watching TV shows and stuff like that. That solitude and reflection time is extremely important. And I think through that and listening to role models, you're going to find your passion and purpose easily. The blurred line, why it's hard to separate and why that's actually good. So my passion, for example, like we just talked about, is special operations and adventure. Is about the excitement and it's tied to my purpose of helping people making a meaningful impact. Two different ways of doing it, but they're both naturally aligned with each other, which I'm very fortunate to have that. Why that's actually good. When the line blurs, in my opinion, it seems like it's something authentic and you're not forcing alignment. It's emerging organically. So through going towards or through just working and reflection, I came up with this big idea to try to save a whole bunch of money and change abject poverty. At the same time, well, I kind of just rehashing everything, but I built a plan B so I could follow my passion. And it just so happened to be that they're both together. Now, if I just was distracted the whole time when I was 15, maybe I would have went to medical school and tried being a pharmacist. Still helping people, but it doesn't really align the two of them, so I feel like I'm onto something here. Um, see, goal isn't perfectly separated between the two. Um, Purpose comes first because that has the largest impact, and passion has a sustainable foundation to make life interesting, I guess. Build for purpose, chase your passion. Establish your foundation. That's what I did. Build a backup plan, safety nets. Then pursue your passion strategically after you already have your foundation and backup plans. That's at least what I did. Oh, and then that's all. That was a pretty quick one. So hopefully you enjoyed. Comment below if you have any questions. I'll try to answer as many as I can. I already have. I've done that already because I think I've had 5 comments. 3 of them were from my buddy Dave, who's in the videos. So I only did 2 of them. So if you have any questions or anything, sweet. Otherwise, I just do these to practice my presentation skills, my communication, and then refine all my thoughts so later, years down the line, that they'll be more articulate and distilled. But have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.